Hi, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. I want to talk today about justice. Justice after a collapse, after SHTF. Are you ready for it? Have you thought about it? There are a number of elements that go into justice, and I don't think that most people think very deeply about them. Most people don't have to. We've separated ourselves from real justice pretty much in this civilized world of ours, so that the individual doesn't have to participate in the dishing out of justice. We have a justice system for that, which removes it from the hands of the individual. To an extent, of course, this is good. To another extent, I don't believe it is that good, because it also separates the individual from the responsibility for that justice. There's a scene in my first book, The Reversion, in which I address this. And those of you who have thought about what it would be like after a collapse probably have, and whether you've read my books or other books, I'm sure that you've thought about what it would be like and what you would have to be prepared to do. But as I talk to more and more people, and I've talked to many, I find that most have not really gone down the path. Maybe it's because it's uncomfortable to do so. Maybe they don't have the background to really feel like they should think about it. I don't know. Since my background is in justice and I was in law enforcement for many, many years, of course I suppose that it's just natural for me to go there. And so maybe I can address a little bit of this. Anyway, there's a scene in the first book, The Reversion. So I ask you to, even if you haven't read the book, kind of go along with me on this so that you understand what the situation would be. A couple has come out to Kansas from Ohio, a judge and his wife, who is an engineer. So they're of a professional stature. They probably haven't had to deal with personal justice outside of a stern argument in many, many years, if ever. And they've come out to pick up their daughter, who just graduated from KU, which is the University of Kansas in Lawrence. Well, coming back is when the EMP struck, and they find themselves broken down on the side of the highway. They stay there for a couple of days, waiting to kind of see what's going to happen. Of course, they see people coming back and forth, but they don't know where to go. They're from Ohio, and they're stuck out here in Kansas, and so they just kind of stick with their vehicle and their trailer full of the daughter's stuff from school, wondering what to do next. And after a couple of days, they've kind of come to the conclusion that they'd better, get what they can and at least try to get somewhere. Well, before they are able to do that, we have three guys come along, fine citizens, real dirtbags, as those of us in the business used to call them. Criminals, bad folks. And they come upon this little family, and they figure they're going to have some fun with them, and so they knock out the father, and they grab the mother, and they grab the daughter, and while one is got the daughter, who's in her 20s, he's got her down on the ground, beginning what would become a rape. While another is holding the mother in a stranglehold, telling her that she's going to be next, and the third one is sitting on top of the father after having taken him out of commission, telling him that they're going to make him watch what happens to his wife and his daughter before they kill him. Okay, that's the scenario. Along come a couple of our other characters, the good characters, Christian and Mike, and they put a stop to it. And And now the situation has been reversed. The bad guys are now under control of the good guys. And Christian starts discussing with the victims of this, the judge and his wife and their daughter, what should be done with them. And one, of course, the mother, I think, suggests, can't we just turn them into the police? And well, there are no police. Law enforcement is everything's out. Well, can't we just tie them up? And I go through the entire. I'm not going to go through the entire thought process on this video because you should. And if you want to see how I went through it, then it's in the Reversion. And he explains all the different possibilities for dealing with these people and why none of them satisfy the need in that situation short of execution. Now, some people who have read my book found that a little bit hard to swallow, and they were uncomfortable with it. And I can understand that. The average person we live in a nice society, and the average person has not had to take care of their own justice since high school, for the most part, and then it was just a little squabble that didn't amount to much. And so the average person is ill-equipped or has not developed a mentality to address these things. So what would you do? I suggest that you think about this. One of the most ridiculous situations that I ever had as a cop was I got called one day to a nice area in a nice little suburb, and I hardly ever worked suburbs. I always worked, for the most part, the inner city, where it was pretty clear what was going on. Bad folks doing bad things to good people and other bad folks, and you could get down there and apply what you needed to take care of it. So I found myself this one night having to write a suburban district, and I got a call on a domestic disturbance. Well, any cop will tell you that a domestic disturbance can mean anything, and it can go sideways in a hurry, so you're always kind of, you're ready for whatever might come along. I go up to the front door, and I knock on the door, and this woman answers the door. And I look around, and all I see is a teenage girl sitting over on the couch in the living room, and this woman's here, and they're both, well dressed, and I don't hear any screaming or anything. And I asked her, did you call the sheriff's department? Yes, she said, I certainly did. Come on in. So I did, and I'm watching. I'm looking in the back for, where the real problem might be coming out, and nothing else is coming out. And I ask her what seems to be the problem, and she says, she points at the girl on the couch, and she says, she wants to take art. And I wasn't sure I'd heard her at first. I said, what? And she said, well, she wants to take art. And I thought, well, gosh, do you just want me to shoot her now or what? And she says, and then she got smart with me, and when I wanted to slap her, she grabbed my arm and won't let me slap her. Now, you're probably laughing right now as much as I was disgusted at the moment. What it came down to is this woman was upset that her daughter wanted to take an elective in high school of art, and when her daughter got snippy with her, she wanted to slap her. The daughter wouldn't let her, and apparently, I was either supposed to slap the girl for her or hold the girl down while mom slapped her, or explain to the girl that you got to let mom slap you. I don't know what in the world was going through her head. And probably neither did she, because we stood there for probably 15 minutes. And I was just dumbfounded as to what this woman thought the police could do in this situation. And she didn't know either. She just knew that there was a problem, and somebody needed to take care of it. And of course, it certainly couldn't be her that arrived at the proper decision. I'd like to say that this is well, I guess it is kind of outlandish, but I won't say that it's all that different than many conversations that I have with people, and you've probably had them yourself. Whatever comes up, could be, well, this is the most horrible thing in the world, and you ask them, well, what would you do about it? And then see that they really haven't thought about what they... Okay, we had another glitch here, and I don't know why these keep happening, but so I apologize. Anyway, when you say this, you see that these people haven't really thought about what they would do, and it's easy, whenever I see or hear someone say, well, you know what I'd do, I know that they haven't done it. Because people who've done it don't talk like that, and they feel safe in saying that because they know they'll never have to do it, and how much easier it is to make the statement in the safety of of being insulated from knowing that they'll have to do it. Well, these are things that really would happen. Some people have had to make these decisions, but 95% of the people in this world have not. And in a grid down situation, or an SHTF, justice becomes different than what most people think it is. It becomes personal. It's no longer removed from the individual. The insulation that comes with a polite society and a justice system is removed, and all of a sudden we're down to life and death, and it's your decision and your job to dispense justice, and that justice has to be just. To be honest, when somebody does something bad to somebody else, I think the victim ought to be able to choose the extent of the reaction, but we'll leave that for another day. But you're also responsible for your justice being adequate to ensure that person doesn't repeat that behavior, not just to you but to others. And I explain this in quite a bit of detail in the Reversion. So anyway, I would suggest that if you haven't been in that situation of having a regular life of life and death decisions, that you give this some thought. Give it a lot of thought. Really get this in your mind. Whether it's and I don't take it from movies and things like that. I know that too many people get their idea of what they would do from a movie or a video game or whatever. And when you are met with reality, reality comes crashing down, and it demolishes all of those preconceived notions that you might have about how you would act, how you would react, what your decisions and judgments would be. So to the extent that you can, think about this. If and when the time comes that it's up to you to dispense justice for a wide variety of infractions, what would you decide? And I think that if you do it right, you'll see that it kind of illuminates some things about yourself to you. So with that, have a good day, and remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. Have a good one. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.